Oh, yeah? I promise you I won't be a bad interview.
Okay, now what is your name, please?
Kenneth Christmon.
And you know, I never met you before. You're an instructor out here at Indiana Purdue?
I'm the Director of Multicultural Services at IPFW.
Okay, now where are you from?
I'm originally from Richmond, Indiana, just 90 miles south of here, down US 27. And most recently my work, was the Director of Admissions at Wilberforce University, which is the nation's first private historically black college.
Oh, there's a lot of things I want to ask you about here. Specifically, first, okay, you were one of the speakers here. As you spoke, then as you had a chance to listen to other speakers here, you know, what did you absorb most from the total presentation here?
There's a collective cry for the sense of the fact that we need to be together. We disagree on things just like anybody else, but we have more in common and more things to agree on. And the African American community in particular needs to find our common ground and to come together. And this is a rallying point. This is a point to come on that's something positive, and we're not waiting on something more negative to happen. So I saw it as a very positive opportunity to talk about our community and to march and be together, not only as a community, but as a nation, to collectively say, we want to be together, we need to be together, and we have a collective resolve to do better.
Have you ever heard of Willie Lynch?
Yes.
Was he real?
Willie Lynch, in the person, real, and then in the sense of who he was theoretically, there are many people who have been Willie Lynch and lived in his experience.
Everything I've read about him showed that, you know, there's no death certificate or anything like that. A lot of intellectual blacks are doubting his existence, although they won't read the presentation. What do you have to, what is your take on that? I mean, you know the whole presentation and everything. Can somebody lie that well, that completely?
In the sense of lying about what?
Let's make a slave. The whole presentation where he's discussing, you know, he's on the banks of the St. James, or the James River in Virginia, talking to the slave owners, telling them about his kit and about how to divide the blacks, especially talking about how you divide the light-skinned slaves from dark ones, the ones on that side of the plantation against the ones over there, right. You know, or inner city versus suburbia. You know, from what I've read, it seems as though the whole Willie Lynch doctrine would be the perfect galvanizing point for all blacks, but yet it's not.
It's because we all have points of belief and faith systems and things that we believe in, and Willie Lynch in context and in history is rooted in a point in time. And most of us don't understand history. We don't understand things in context. We're very busy living in the here and the now. And so we have no backdrop, we have no reflection. And that's why you hear older African Americans speaking about things that were, how things are, and what things will be. But when you talk to much younger people uninformed about things like Willie Lynch or some of the things that you're talking about, the dichotomy of a social organization or us as a social construct as black people, it's generally because we're buying or being leased or being sold someone else's reality, which is what I was trying to share today, as opposed to understanding things against the backdrop of history and what's been perpetuated to bring us to this point.
The more I read Willie Lynch, the whole speech, the way that he laid out about how you break blacks apart, it seems as though that is a perfect prescription for bringing blacks together. Just as he in 1712 said that this is how you create a slave, it seems as though you can take that very same doctrine and show that if you said you break them apart, you pit the young against the old, that what we're doing here in Fort Wayne is we're putting together a vocation cross-section of achiever types. A recovering addict, a person who's an entrepreneur, you know, getting started in business, a young man who's making A's. And as they show how they overcame something, one astounding thing I found was that the learning curves in each one, overcoming a drug addiction, learning how to make A's, it's the same curve.
I understand better where you're going. Yeah, that's true. And you're saying if you know what ails you, then you also have to know what fixes you. And that whole construct is what pulls us apart. So I think you're very right that if you can learn from each person, from each situation, from each ailment, how it affects us as a total or as a whole, then we also know ways to fix it. And I think that's what I hear you saying as well. Yeah.
But just like here today, The speeches were outstanding, but yet a lot of people, from my experiences in Fort Wayne, would feel that you're all being too aggressive, and whites are going to harm you, and that's that's prevalent here, and I don't know. It seems like that a lot of times when you create a fear in your mind, you're afraid to step outside the box. So it's not a form of enslaving yourself.
Well, I think events like this and situations like this, and I'm not from Fort Wayne, but I've been here and I made a decision to move here and to live here, and I'm having a very, very good experience, a very positive experience, but I'm also very much understanding that Fort Wayne's not different than a whole lot of communities that it has struggled with historically and continues to struggle with, and there are general perceptions and attitudes of just stay back. The problem with events like this, from a spiritual backdrop or theological point is God didn't give us the spirit of fear, but that of love and a sound mind. Well, this is a contradiction. It calls us out of our local place. It calls us out of our comfort zone. It calls us out of our chair. It's easy to go to a building of people who think a lot of what you think and believe a lot of what you think. But today was, can you think what you think and believe what you believe, bring that with you and be a part of a whole that says that we do need to atone and that we do need to do better and that we're willing to do that. And so, sure, I'm sure there's some people who want to stay at home. There's some people who will think or what have you. But what I said today was many people are wanting to see, kind of tipping their toe in the water to see if it's too cold or too hot. We should not be fearful about the fact that our young black men are going to jail at a higher rate than other young men. We should not be fearful about understanding that our people economically are disadvantaged, and we should not always want to reside with the fact that it's somebody else's fault. The question is, and the perplexing point and the scary point is are we going to help ourselves? And so this is as much a rally as it is an opportunity, and I see it as an opportunity. So I'm not scared to be here with my brothers and sisters.